And welcome back. We want to welcome Jonathan Brimley. He is the CEO and owner of Americare Beach Cities. Thanks for joining us again. Good to see you again.
Michael.
And yes, we did call ahead, and I wanted to know what he was wearing, and he wanted to know what I was wearing, so we're looking great.
I left my glasses in my pocket.
I can take mine off for a little while. So reintroduce folks to what you guys do in terms of senior care here in the community.
Well, thank you. Yes, well, our primary focus is on providing care to keep people safe. A lot of daughter-in-laws will call, hey, I need help. I'm worried about mom or dad. I want to keep them safe.
Yeah, those are kind of the goals of in-home health, in-home care, right? Stay safe, increase independence, things like that.
Yes, so staying safe is one, but how I like to describe it is, do you want to go on vacation or do you need to go on vacation, right? So do you need a caregiver or do you want a caregiver to improve your quality of life?
And that's an important thing, right, for a lot of people in terms of that the ability to be able to live in home and stay at home and be able to get the things done that they need to get done, right? And just kind of make your daily life just a little bit easier.
Exactly.
Right. Increase social interactions, monitor changing conditions, bring peace of mind. Those are all kind of the big things that the big kind of top list of things that you guys do and services you guys provide for folks, right?
Yes.
Okay. Let's talk about one thing that's very important. Kind of the traits of a great caregiver. Now, it's very important for you guys to get the right people in-house to make sure that they're getting the great services to your clients, right?
Yes. So I interview all the caregivers who are employed. And we first go through I look at the resume, we do a phone interview, then I do an in-person interview. And they have to pass the sniff test. They need to have, why do they want to become a caregiver? What's their story? It's just another job.
Right.
And they need to prove to me that they have the experience and skills. And they need to eventually do a background check and a driving record check. But it's about them knowing the skills and having the heart to do the job, the compassion.
Right. When you're
patience.
passionate about this, and you want your folks to be passionate about this when they go into someone's home, right?
Yes, and we're a small business owned by my wife and I. When these caregivers go out to a family that I've already talked to, they're representing me. Right? So I want to make sure that they have the patience and understanding to be a great caregiver. And
patience comes with listening, right, with intent as well, right? How is that important in terms of like when you know that caregiver's in that house?
Well, it's a great question. And I ask that to my caregivers. Okay, for example, I ask them, what do you do? How would you act when you're working with someone who has memory issues? They're asking you the same thing, or you're asking them and they're telling you something different every time. Right? Because that's a lot of clients we work with do have memory issues. So it's about having patience, be able to answer someone who's asking the same question over and over. And they have to explain how they do that and demonstrate their patience to me. And
within the title of caregiver, there's that care word, right? So it's not just professionalism, but also there's that warmth that you want to make sure that people have, right? That they're going to have a kind of a relationship with this person, not just a client and customer kind of feel.
Yes, and that's one of the things that we specialize in, is placing a caregiver with a family that's going to be consistent. And be surprised how many caregivers I interview, and it's a novel concept to them to be assigned to one family. And they're going to be there with that family and get to know them and their likes, their dislikes, how they like the house cleaned, what type of food they like to be cooked, because they're used to going to wherever they're assigned to that day.
Oh, wow, okay.
And that's not how I operate.
Right. Well, there comes to another point you want to make. Is there's trust in that. Like, what if I build a relationship with my caregiver, then I trust that they know what I need, and also that caregiver can assess things that are happening. Like, hey, I've noticed this in the past week or two. This is a change, and so that consistency can help inform the care that's needed at the house.
Absolutely. In fact, that's part of our application that all my caregivers have on their phone, is to log on and write down what tasks they were assigned to do, which ones they did do, and which ones the client declined having done, and also monitoring those change conditions. And then the family, the extended family, whether they live in the same neighborhood or across the country, they can log on to my application, and it's called the family room feature, and they can see, oh, here's what mom or dad did today.
Okay.
Here's what's going on. If mom or dad allows, we can take pictures, we can post them and say, oh, here's mom or dad at the beach. Here's mom or dad eating this great meal that they just asked me to prepare. So it's about communication to the family members about how mom or dad or grandma and grandpa are doing.
Right, absolutely. And not anybody can become a caregiver, right? There's a process that, there's licensing and those kinds of things, but what are some of the steps, or what are some of the things that you have to be able to be a caregiver?
Well, you do have to be licensed. Well, I'll say, because I'm licensed by the state, all of my caregivers also need to be licensed by the state and bonded and insured. I'd have to be fingerprinted and go through the FBI and Department of Justice and get background checked with the state. I also do my own background check and driving record check, because so much of what we do or can do is driving clients around to doctor appointments, to shopping, again, to the park, visit friends, go out to lunch, improving their quality of life. So I need to make sure that my caregivers, A, have a driver's license, B, have a good vehicle, and C, are safe drivers.
Right.
So that I can trust them when they are driving my clients around.
And in terms of caring for caregivers, there's turnover rate. I was surprised at the numbers I saw that you gave me about the turnover rate for caregivers in California. It's phenomenally high.
Yes, in 2023, I don't have the numbers for 2024 yet, but for 2023, 79% turnover is the average turnover rate for caregivers, which means most agencies are having to switch out caregivers often. And a client will get a knock on the door, open it up, and they don't know who's coming.
Right, that's what I was going to say. The clients are the ones who suffer, because all of a sudden it's this kind of musical chairs of people coming to my home, and then there's trust. I don't know this person, and there's no history there.
Yes. So average industry, 79% in California, we are under 10.
Okay, wow.
So we have a very stable supply of caregivers who will be assigned to the family, and unless they call out sick or go on vacation, it's going to be the same giver coming day in, day out.
And that consistency benefits the client too, because they got this same person that's coming, they're assigned to that one person, and that really can help the client in terms of their long-term benefits of care and trust and all of those things.
Right. We are part of the care community, right? So not only can we be communicating out to the family members about change of condition, we can get to know their primary care physician, and we can be talking to them as well. If you have a caregiver coming random caregiver coming, who's not going to know who the doctor is or who the family member are, as opposed to someone who's coming every single day, has a relationship with that family, with their person's doctor, you have a lot better care.
What do you attribute the high turnover rate to, and the fact that you're able to have such a low turnover rate? Is it that screening process that you start with in terms of getting the right people in there?
Well, it starts with screening, and frankly, I pay better. Instead of having this high turnover, I'm spending more money and time hiring people. I just pay them better to start with. Then
it's a great place to start.
They are happy because it reduces my cost in time, but also improves my quality of care. So instead of spending money on hiring, I spend money in salaries.
Well, there you go. That's one of the ways to do it. Jonathan Brimley, he is from Americare Beach Cities. He's the owner-operator, and he is making sure that the folks in homes are the right ones for your clients. Thank you very much for joining us today.
No, thank you, Michael.
You're watching This Day. We'll be right back.